So Google recently announced the Pixel 10 series models, like 10 years of pixels. Should be great, right? No, they didn't. They actually made it kind of like a subtle upgrades over the last model. I'm gonna start with the Pixel 10. The Pixel 10 in terms of dimensions and the build materials, build quality, it's very similar. There is no changes. Even the IP68 hasn't changed at all. But certain things has changed, like the OLED display, even though it's still 60 to 120Hz, not 1 to 120Hz, just like the older model, has now 3000 nits of peak brightness and 2000 nits of high manual brightness. It's a very little upgrade over the last year's model, which had 2700 nits of peak brightness and 1800 nits of high manual brightness. Not so much noticeable, but still a good upgrade. The screen, the bezel size hasn't changed at all. 6.3 inch, 86.1% screen to body ratio. The thing that has changed, the Tensor G5, it's a 3nm chip up from 4nm Tensor G4 inside the Pixel 9 model. But the point is that the CPU though is 34% faster according to Google, but the GPU hasn't been upgraded that much. So overall, it's not a big upgrade, but still, it's made by TSMC. So in efficiency, it's still gonna be way better. Now they are claiming battery-wise something weird, like it's still 24 hours of battery life. That's just like a typical claim, but the battery size has gone up. So with TSMC's manufacturing process node and 4900 mAh battery, 4970 to be exact, over the 4700 mAh inside the older model is a good upgrade. And that's not the only thing. It now gets 30 watt wired charging up from 27 watt, and it also gets G2 support. Yes, you can use the MagSafe accessories totally or use the Pixel Snap accessories, let's call it. But the wireless charging is capped at 15 watts. Which is very similar if you do with a Pixel stand on the Pixel 9. Now another thing is that it doesn't get 16GB of RAM, it still does have 12GB of RAM just like the older model with 128 and 256GB of storage options. But then the cameras has changed drastically. But is it good or bad? You tell me. For example, the main camera has gone down in resolution from 50 to now 48. That's not the only thing. It now features 1/2-inch sensor down from 1/1.31-inch sensor. That was a much bigger sensor than this one. Yes, that's not the only thing. They have included a teleporter camera, a 5x teleporter camera, which was missing on the last phone, but that camera is only 10.8 megapixel, not even 12 megapixels. And the zoom, the digital zoom is only available till 25x, and it can't really do the 100x AI zoom that the Pixel 10 Pro models can do. So that's another thing. And then there is the ultra wide angle camera, which if you don't know, also has been downgraded from 48 megapixel 1/2.55-inch sensor to now 13 megapixel 1/3.1-inch sensor. Like all the sensors have been chopped to pieces, and even in resolutions too. So it's a tiny sensor with the resolution has been dropped as well. So it's kind of a downgrade. Then in the video department, there is nothing important here because the night sight in video mode is still for the Pixel Pro models. So, and that's the Pixel 10 model. The pricing hasn't changed. $799 in the US, £799 in the UK, and €899 in the European countries. Another thing is that in the US, you're not gonna get a physical SIM tray in any Pixel models except the Pixel Pro Fold. Keep that in mind. Next is the Pixel Pro models. I'm gonna talk about the Pixel Pro XL. So the Pixel 10 Pro XL in terms of size and dimension hasn't changed at all. Like it's identical to the Pixel 9 Pro if you're owning one. And similarly, the front and back glass is still Corning Gorilla Glass Victus 2, just like the older model. There's no change. And similar to the Pixel 10, it got a slight upgrade in the brightness, 3300 nits compared to 3000 nits on the older model, and 2200 nits of high manual brightness compared to 2000 nits on the older model. And that's it. The screen to body ratio 88%, 6.8-inch screen, the resolution to everything just identical. And just like the Pixel 10 model, the Tensor G5 is here compared to Tensor G4, and then you have 16GB of RAM, goes up to 1TB from 256GB of base model, so you have 3 different storage options. That's really good. And this is a similar story for the tinier Pixel 10 Pro as well. It's just size-wise it's smaller, but everything else is just very much similar. In the camera department, nothing has changed. From the 50 megapixel main camera, 1/3.1-inch sensor, to the 48 megapixel periscope camera, the 5x one, or the ultra wide angle camera, the 48 megapixel one. Nothing has changed. Not the sensor size, nothing. not even the resolution. The only thing is good here is that now you can do AI zoom up to 100x. So if you do 100x zooms, then it will use AI to upscale the photo and redo certain things so that the photo look crispier and more better. But it doesn't do anything good on the human faces. It's only is possible on the static things like a building or things like that. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. So, and these devices, the Pixel 10 Pro models, does support 8K 30 fps just like the last year's models, and there is also the night sight in the video just like the 9 Pro model. The front camera is also a 42 megapixel camera. The speakers, according to Google, has changed on all the Pixel 10 models except the Pixel 10 Pro XL actually got a speaker upgrade at the bottom speaker too. Other than that, all the phones are coming with Bluetooth 6.0 up from Bluetooth 5.3, so that's a tiny bit of upgrade. And in the battery department, it now features a 5200 mAh battery, much better than Samsung is doing, and 45 watts for fast charging compared to 37 watts of last year's model. And there is G2 support, but the Pixel 10 Pro XL only supports 25 watt of wireless charging using the Pixel Snap or MagSafe charging, which is actually 15 watts on the Pixel 10 Pro, the tinier model. But that also got a battery upgrade that is now featuring 4870 mAh of battery, but they're claiming the same 24 hours for every one of them. Now, the Pixel 10 Pro models will come in Moonstone, Jade, Porcelain, and Obsidian colors. Definitely the favorite one has to be the Jade color. And the pricing stayed the same, $999 for the Pixel 10 Pro and $1,200 for the Pixel 10 Pro XL. And here are the prices in pounds and European countries. And now we have the tiniest upgrade in any phone. So the Pixel 10 Pro XL, yes, it now has a different hinge which doesn't have any gear, so mechanical failure would be much less. That's why they're claiming it can stay like this for 10 years. That's actually good. And in terms of weight, it's just only 1 gram of difference, but that's probably it. Other than that, it now features IP68, which is really better, like way too good. Like, this is the biggest thing of this phone. It's IP60 just like the normal slab smartphones. Hats up to Google. But then the display wise, it's still the same. 1800 nits of high manual brightness, 3000 nits of peak brightness, slightly better than last year's 2700 nits of peak brightness. And I'm talking about the foldable display. Yeah. It's similarly 8-inch screen size, 6.4-inch at the outer screen, which is a slight upgrade from the 6.3-inch of the last model because this new hinge doesn't require that much of space and it has also much less bezels, so that's probably it. The outer screen also have the same 3000 nits of peak brightness compared to 2700 on the older model, but still, the outer screen still offers 60 to 120 Hz adaptive refresh rate. But the main screen still does offer 1 to 120 Hz, so keep that in mind. Again, it does have the Tensor G5, same 256GB of storage, 16GB of RAM, 1TB up to storage options. The cameras haven't upgraded at all. It's still 48 megapixel main camera, a 10.8 megapixel tiny sensor for 5x optical zoom, and 10.5 megapixel ultra-wide-angle camera. So the cameras haven't seen any upgrade either. Same goes for the tiny 10 megapixel cover screen cameras. And the charging has been upgraded. 5015 mAh battery, a much bigger upgrade compared to the last year's 4650 mAh. 30 watts of fast charging compared to 21 watts on the older model, and 15 watts of G2 supported magnetic charging, wireless charging. That's actually good. And the pricing stayed the same, $1799. Yes. But if you look at the current market, then you can get this phone for $980 or so in the US. The older model I'm talking about. So wait for another year to buy this if you want. It comes in Jade and Moonstone color. I personally like the Jade color, but then again, that's probably it. So this is the tiniest upgrade ever on a Google Pixel device. And now the Pixel Watch. It got quite a bit good upgrades. The glass area, the touch area is now bigger. It has much less bezels, let's call it. So the footprint is smaller than the last model. It does have newer Snapdragon W5 Gen 2 processor, 4 processor, much better upgrade than the last one. Again, Bluetooth 6.0, a tiny bit of battery upgrade, 455 mAh compared to 420 on the older model. It does charge from the sides now, which looks really cool. It does come in some new colors, and that's probably it. It stays, the pricing stayed just identical to the last one, 400 euros or $349 in the US and $449 for the LTE model, about $100 more. So that's probably it for the Pixel 10 Pro models. I think this is something that could have been launched last year and called it the Pixel 9 models. I would have loved that because this year upgrades are just something that makes it think like they could have just called it Pixel 9S models. I would have loved that more. What do you think? Let me know about your thoughts in the comment section below. Things have improved for sure, but is it really that great compared to the last year model? I don't think so.
And yes, if you want, you can get some crazy cool wallpapers up on my website. A link down below. Until the next one, bye and take care.